How's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Crossout Clanwars. Back on the Helios. However, once again, this thing is really just growing on me. We have some special games for you today with a fusion. But before we actually get into that, I just want to quickly, if you saw like the Patreon list there in the beginning, you might have seen that Fuzzy Crank was marked with gold, and boy, he dropped the first ever $50 Patreon. Thank you so much, homie. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for the support, and thank you for, the constant support with the comments on the videos and all that stuff. It's so great. If you guys want to become Patreons as well, there's a link down in the description. If not, sit back, enjoy this video, and watch how we dealt with this shield fusion that we actually faced in Clan Wars just the other day. Now, the way that these guys build up these builds are that they slap on a cabin with a Bigfoot wheel, and then they fuse, and that same build also has like either 3 or 4 Aegises, plus maybe a spark or something like that, or a cap can, a barrier, whatever. It's a bit like, it depends on what people want to run. But matter of fact is that it's a fusion with a lot of shields and then some aspects, and they want to make an infinite shield fusion. But we also want to take this opportunity to show you guys that you can actually deal with these guys. Okay, what we did here in the first round was that we just constantly tried to zone his allies. So as you can see, the fusion actually gets in, but his allies doesn't really, because we put a lot of pressure on them. And that just leaves him out, and as soon as the fusion is isolated and alone, we can hammer him down with a lot of damage. But as you also saw here, as soon as his allies got in, we changed our focus to them, because the fusion is not like super scary on its own. So we want to focus down his allies first, so that we can just fully concentrate fire on him afterwards, and then we just slowly start killing him. And I went for the delegging. It's a tactic that we use often, because if you can remove the legs, we can just go for the cap. In this specific situation, he was in cap already, and he was the only one left, so I basically just aimed for the legs, because why not? But it's a legit strategy to go for the legs on a fusion, to just immobilize them. That's sometimes the easiest, because the legs always stick out of the shield. But what we do when we actually have the build isolated is that we just fully focus fire on him, because a salvo of 2 Typhoons will remove a shield. Now we have 2 Typhoon Spiders in this team, so we actually have a total of 4 Typhoons, meaning that we can take down 2 shields instantly, which you will see us do as soon as they actually get close to us. They were a bit like, the fusion probably weren't properly set up, because they took a long time to fuse and actually start moving. So we got the cap going all right. I wanted to just stay in cap in order to put pressure on them and force them to come to cap as quickly as possible, because sometimes that can stress out people, and then they forget their actual strategy on how to attack. But we're just waiting for the fusion here to arrive at the cap, and I'm still just trying to throw some decloaking around for that Lancer. We didn't really know where he went, but now you can see them coming in here. And watch how, there's just first so much damage on that aspect. He's just chain stunned, so we can take him out of the match easily. And here comes the Lancer. He was decloaked, so he was also very easy to degun. Not really an issue at all. And as soon as we've dealt with those enemies again, look how the shields on the fusion is just constantly being taken down. They can never keep the shields up, and that just makes it so easy for us to degun him. And yeah, there we go. He's no longer a threat, and it's just to show that yes, you can beat these teams. But even if you can, I'm still gonna sit here and rant every freaking time I see people with 2 or 3 Aegises, because it's not supposed to work like that. Why can't we have 5 chameleons or 10 engines mounted on our builds if we can have 3 Aegises? I simply do not get it. And also, not Tsunami, wow. The Helios, dual Helios, dual Aegis is a build that deals a ton of damage, while also being able to almost be constantly cloaked with just 2 Aegises. Because if you run a cheetah and you have 2 water-cooled Aegises, then you are in a really good shape. But nevertheless, I also included some other games for you guys, just to make the video a bit longer. Don't have a lot of recordings of fusions, you don't see them all that often after all. But we faced LTU this time. Still, there is so many dog teams going. Like, just today we had a session. We're sitting at, I think, 40th place when we started today. We pushed it to 38. We actually managed to get matched against both SWAT and Hate today. First time ever playing Hate, so that was super exciting. And we actually fought them okay, especially considering that they run their full Typhoon hover setup, which is super strong, while we were just running our usual Reba, Helios, whatever combination, which isn't really all that meta. So I feel like we had a pretty good run, even though we actually faced like some really high clans today. But it was a nice and funny experience. Again, as I've said before, we don't really play to go high. I honestly don't care at all. So it's just a fun experience. That's all it really is. But the first round here, as you can see, actually went okay. I included these games to show you guys that hovers aren't really like impossible versus dogs. It's a lot about the positioning and knowing when to move back, and also how to kite them around the best way. We actually also faced Ribby today, and this build can still be deframed. Don't get me wrong, it is good versus melees, but I think it was Blastoff who literally like hit a perfect sweet spot on my build today, and he just absolutely tore me apart in just like half a second, because he just hit some weak spot in the build. I'm still trying to figure where it is and then make sure that it doesn't happen again. But I'm just like, my point being is just that this build actually functions quite alright against dogs. What I do here is, as soon as we see them approach, I try to get some damage in, and since they are like going ham on us, I cloak just like briefly to reposition myself and make sure that they don't go for me, because if I'm just sitting here and firing, they will always know where I am. But with my cloak, I sort of hope that after they engaged, they may be thinking, oh, let's look for the hover now that we have lanced the spiders and maybe crippled them. So I cloak up just to get like confuse them once more and reposition. But since we dealt pretty good with them, I just go to finish off the pulsar, which I do right there, and bam, that is a wrap for the second game versus LTU. Now the third game that I have for you guys is a game versus OSH. Sadly, do not have all of the builds for you that they're running, but I can tell you this much: they're running 3 dogs, and then they are running a cricket hover. I should say lance vestas or melees or hybrids, whatever you want to call it. Basically, lances, harvesters, and a spark. That's their setup, and then a cricket hover. At this point, we're literally just waiting for them to get closer. My plan was initially to hope for the cricket hover to come close as soon as the dogs engaged. He didn't really do that. He actually stayed behind a lot. I wanted to just go hard on him as soon as the other guys started fighting, because I can kill him so easily with the Helios hover. Versus a cricket hover, it's not a real threat. So that was my initial plan, but it turns out that the cricket hover was super defensive. Like, he was not planning on getting on our side of the map just yet. I don't really know why, because he really had a hard time backing up his team once the dogs actually engaged, which you can see them doing slowly here on the map in just a second. They slowly just started cloaking up and going towards us in our base. So I decided to just rotate and move into the base, or move my aim into the base so that I can back up the team. And as you can see, those cap cans are really lifesavers. And at this point, my spider sense started tickling. I was thinking there must be a cricket volley coming soon. So I shielded, and there's the cricket volley. I was quite lucky on that one. Always just feels so good when you get that calculation just right. But as you can see, the Helios is actually super effective for removing sparks. It just works so well all of the time. So I kite this dude around. I had some issues this session with shooting the Helios. For some reason, I kept on clicking too early. As you can see, I do that multiple times. I don't know if my ping was messing up. You guys can tell from my ping out there. But something was definitely wrong. I might have just been out of rhythm or whatever. Could also be I'm not really that good. So Wouldn't be surprised if it was just my own mistake, but it is what it is. But nevertheless, we took down the guys. All right, it's just the cricket hobbit left, and for some reason he just absolutely blew up Lith. So he's the only one left, and I go in for the hunt. I just try to stay as mobile as possible to make it harder for him to hit me, and I landed a lot of damage on him. As you can see, he's still just fleeing, so I'm just pursuing him. Luckily, I get into his view there. I get close to him. I calculated where he wanted to go, so I could take him down for the win. Moving on to the second round. This round was a bit like the first round. The hover decided to still be very defensive. I decided to just push up a bit because we knew where he was, so I could just use my Aegis to land some early damage on the dogs. It's always nice, especially if I can just get some damage and remove those claws that they have above their spark, because that's usually what they use to pin you down and push you into the harvester, and it's just super annoying. So it's always nice to get that off early. And again, as you can see, the dogs are really far out, but the cricket hover is really staying far behind. I'm not sure if it's a good strategy or not. I simply cannot commentate on that because, yeah, I don't play cricket hover all that often anymore. I used to do it a lot. If you guys have seen some of the previous videos, you know that I've played a lot of cricket hover. But the dogs here, they decided to go a bit harder on me this time. But again, as you can see, this hover is actually just performing so well against melees. And they're really struggling to get me. So those two dogs didn't really have any success in going for me. So we end up killing them. Once again. It's just the create hover left now. He must have thought that he could turn this around, you know, go for that 1 vs 4 clutch. I don't blame him. I would have done the same. I would have done the same any day. Because you might just get lucky sometimes. So we're going in on the full pursuit. Just trying to use the landscape here to stay somewhat safe. But I feel like you guys probably already know by now what's gonna happen. So let's just start rounding off this video as of right now. And thank you guys so much for following. As always, drop a like down below if you enjoyed this. There's a subscribe button if you haven't done it already. Press it. I'm telling you. I want you to press it. So do it. Do it now. Do it. And until next time, have an awesome day. Bye.